Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 8 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do. Today I want to bring some clarity to how to stay safe. Normally when I do these videos, I try to make them something that people can use all the time, and I think you can do that here. However, we are in the middle of this whole coronavirus thing, and a lot of people are worried. And so what I wanted to do is bring a neuroscience perspective on how to stay safe in situations using awareness versus worry. There's a quote that I love that I'm sending out to those 6,000 folks on my quote list. It's from Albert Einstein. It says, "Problems cannot be solved at the same level of awareness that created them." And I think that's our challenge. Sometimes when we don't know how to solve a problem, or when it's a new problem, or when the problem is causing problems, we start to worry about it. Very understandable. What we need to understand, however, is how that affects the brain and how the brain then continues forward to either make good or less than good decisions about what we do. So, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to deal with this. For those of you who follow the philosophy, you know we got these 3 parts to the brain. Lower part of the brain is called the brainstem. That is the fight or flight part. Upper 80% of the brain is called the neocortex. I call it the top of the mind. This is where we have access to our interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, clarity, confidence, creativity, compassion, etc. The middle brain, right between the ears, is called the limbic system. This is the scanner, processor, router part of the brain. Its mission on the planet is to keep us safe and alive as a species, and therefore it has a tendency to pay way more attention to negative information versus positive information. Positive information carries no threat. Negative information could, and in the past it did. I mean, when we were walking through the jungle and we heard the roar of a saber-toothed tiger, limbic system freaked out, we ran away, we survived, all was well. Today, unfortunately, it's still working on old software and it isn't that smart. So it has a tendency to interpret almost anything negative as dangerous and throws us into the part of the brain that's designed to deal with danger. This is where we get worried and anxious and start making decisions based on this fear versus awareness. So what I like to do is give people an opportunity to make a choice between awareness and worry. Awareness looks at a situation and says, okay, I see the situation, this is good information. What would I recommend to someone I love here? How can I stay safe in a way that feels good? How can I stay safe in a way that defines who I am, a very purposeful way? In other words, awareness feels good, whereas worry feels bad. Now, again, there are things we need to be worried about. You know, a hurricane's coming, I'll make sure we're going to deal with that. Someone's breaking into our house, that's something to worry about. Don't touch the hot stove, that's something to worry about. So anytime worry will keep you safe in a fight or flight situation. Worry and fear and anxiety are designed to keep us safe in situations where we need to react without thinking in order to be safe. And there are those out there. Not as many as there used to be, but they are out there. So anytime you need to react without thinking in order to be safe, worry, anxiety, fear is perfect. When we're wanting to make good decisions about our experience of life, however, what we want to do is come from this upper 80% of the brain, the aware part of the brain versus the worried part of the brain. Now, this is actually a chemical change in our brain and body. When we're in that lower brain, we're triggering fight or flight chemicals like adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. They make us more worried, they make us more anxious, and they make us more reactive. When we're in the upper 80% of the brain, we're triggering serotonin and endorphins, chemicals that help us think clear and feel better. And I think what we want to do is use awareness to think clear and therefore feel better. You know, there's plenty of stuff out there about what we should do around the coronavirus, that's what it's called. And so I think it's a good idea to do that. As a speaker, I go around the country talking to people, pretty much always shaking hands with the people I talk to for a while until that's kind of handled. I'm just not going to do that, and I think they're going to be fine with that. I can do that in a way that goes, okay, coronavirus, and they'll laugh and everything will be fine. So that's using awareness versus worry to make a decision about staying safe. Washing our hands, you know, they tell us what to do, and I think it's all a good idea. What we want to do, however, is not use fear or worry or anxiety as our driver for that. Because unfortunately, not only does it trigger adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol, but cortisol triggers glucose, and glucose actually minimizes our immune system. It actually minimizes our ability to fight off illness. So, you know, that's unfortunately what worry does. Now, Don't want you to worry about worry. I want you to know what's going on. I want you to be able to use neuroscience to be able to keep you and those you love safe going forward. It will take an effort. It will have to be very purposeful because this old brain really wants to use worry as this motivation to do whatever we need to do to be safe. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to recognize you can do whatever you need to do to be safe without needing to get worried or anxious or frightened about it. Because then you're triggering this upper 80% of the brain. You're triggering serotonin and endorphins. You're allowing your body, your immune system, to work the way it's supposed to and actually increases the possibility that if you do come in contact with this particular virus, you may not find yourself having any effects by it, because there are people who do that. Hope this is helpful. Again, what I'm encouraging you to do is understand the science behind what part of the brain are we coming from. When there's a situation that really deserves our attention, which I think this one does, we want to make sure we're bringing this clear, confident, creative part of the brain to the process of taking the steps we need to do to be safe. And to recognize that what is going to go on is this middle brain and lower brain almost thinks if we're not worried, we're not safe, and therefore it will continue to trigger that worry and trigger that anxiety, but we don't have to feed it. We can recognize, I can make good decisions about how to keep me and those I love safe without needing to be worried about it. By the way, the Life from the Top of the Mind system is basically about making good decisions. It's what I teach. It's what I go around the world teaching. I've written a book about it called Life from the Top of the Mind. If you feel this would be valuable, this concept of coming from this clear, confident, creative part of who you are and getting other people to shift from their resistant brain to their receptive brain, all you got to do is go to my website, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in. Love to talk with you about that. In the meantime, if you're liking the videos, please hit the like button, share them with your friends. You can find them on iTunes and Pinterest and LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube and all the social media, so feel free to check that out. In the meantime, here's to you, bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything you do, including staying safe. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.